So there are two ways to search, and you can see them both here. We'll start with by issue. Um, so basically on the right-hand side, you'll see all of the years. You can just click on a year and it will open up all the various different issues. Um, if you click on an issue, for example, September 9th, you will see right now, you can see there are 28 articles. You're only seeing the first 10 of them, but these are all the articles that are in the issue. You have a couple of options on how you're going to see this information. Basically, if you go to page options, you can see right now we're in a brief reporting of what each article is about, but you can move to detailed or standard or title only. And you can also decide how many results you want on a page. Personally, I don't like flipping through pages, so I would just click on 30 so I saw all the results and just could scroll through them. Now, again, back to page options. If I want to, right now it's a brief introduction to the article, but I could go to a detailed one, which will give me much more information. So I can then scroll through to see. This works if you're looking at, if you want to look at a certain issue. One of the helpful hacks, and I will send this link to you when I send you this recording, is this archive edition of all of the covers of Consumer Reports. That helps you sort of think about if you wanted to, for example, if you were interested in automobiles and you wanted to go to the April issue, and you can find out what they're focused on. Basically, you just click on an issue, and then that will take you. It doesn't give you the access to the whole magazine, but it will tell you a little bit about what the cover story is and some of the major articles. I find this helpful if you're looking at Consumer Reports, like you just want to look at the month and you want to understand what, as if you were coming into the library and picking up Consumer Reports and just sitting down to look at it. So we'll go back to, hold on a second. Hold on. There we go. My problem is the controls are up at the top, and that makes it very complicated to try to maneuver between the various tabs that I have open. I apologize. In any case, so here are all the articles in that issue. So if you were looking at it from an issue to issue, and you wanted to see what was in that, that would be a very easy way to look at the September issue. And you can, if you want to at this point, just click share and add to a folder, and you could add all the results to the folder. So you could add this search to the folder. And if I click on this, you will see suddenly up here, the folder has opened up and there's something inside the folder. But we'll talk about how to save information later on. The other way to look at Consumer Reports is to search the whole database. And that's really, if you're looking for information about a particular topic, cars, washing machines, whatever, this is probably the easiest way to do it. And rather than the issues, which are on the right-hand side, you're going to go search within this publication. Now, you can see right now, this is the basic search. You can limit your results, and I encourage you highly to do this, to full text and also to a publication date, because Consumer Reports you have access to publications from 1991, and most of those reviews probably aren't going to be of much value to you. So you probably want something a little more current. So you can just put in a year. Like I just want reviews that were in this last year from 2020 to 2020. And at this point, if I wanted to, I could put in a topic. But this is a little bit more complicated to do it this way. Because I didn't use my Boolean phrase and dietary supplements. And that brings up articles. It's much easier, and I'm going to show you the advanced search to do it this way. So let me just get back out of this because this wouldn't show up. If you clicked on advanced search, JN stands for journal, so you've got the right journal. And now I'm going to put in, you know, I've heard about all these great dietary supplements for COVID, so I'm just going to start looking at dietary supplements. So I'm going to click on dietary supplements. I'm going to select a field. I want this to be a subject term. So now if I search for Consumer Reports and dietary supplements, I have 66 results. And that is because I did not qualify the date field. So what I want to do is, again, put this back in 2020. And make it full text. And now I've got my 4 articles. So there is also one other thing that is sort of fun with this. And you can see right now, the refined results. I find all my search terms, full text. I have a publication date that I've set, and I've got 4 articles. Now at this point, I could also add these individual articles. I have an option to move it to the folder. And I can also print, and right now it's in the folder because everything, now that I've started using the folder, they're going to ask me to email, to save it from the folder. So I'll show that to you in a little bit. Once you have your articles up, you have a couple of options. For example, this article on supplement schemes and COVID come-ons, you can see either in HTML or PDF. If we choose HTML, we have a couple of options. We can choose a language and it will translate it if English isn't your first language. And you can also listen to it and you can choose the accent. So American accent, Australian accent, and British accent, which is sort of fun. At this point too, you can add this to your folder. You could add it to Google Drive. You can email it, you can print it, and you can save it to your computer. I wouldn't worry about these items because I think as far as what you need to do with the articles, it's much easier if you either save them to your computer, email them to yourself, or print them, or just add them to Google Drive. If you add it to the folder, then it will be in the folder, and we'll look at the folder in just a minute. Now, I can also look at this as a PDF and full text, which is what I prefer because it looks much more like the news by it looks much more like the magazine that I'm used to. Just let it load. So basically, here's the article. And again, I have the options to save it to Google Drive, to print it, to email it to myself, to add it to the folder, or to save it to my computer. The other thing I wanted to show you is if you are, right now, this is in the October 1st issue. If I wanted to look at the October 1st issue too, you can see here, right now I'm on page 34, supplement schemes. But if I wanted to look at that full magazine, I could go back right from the very beginning and just go through the magazine as I would like. Let's see, full tape. Yeah. So, and I can just keep scrolling through and looking at the whole magazine, which is a little awkward, but seems to work fairly well if you're interested in reading the whole magazine and taking a look at it. So basically, we're talking about finding the article that you want to find. And let me just move this down a little bit, go back to, get back into my list. Okay. So I wanted to show you one other thing that I think is really interesting. So right now we have the journal and a subject. We can also add more subjects if we're interested, or an author. This is the advanced search for all of EBSCOhost database, so it's a little bit more evolved than what we need for Consumer Reports. But there is one really interesting piece, and that is, so we basically, when you see this, so we see this article, and you can see that it's Consumer Reports is the journal, and dietary supplements are in the subject headings, which is why it got pulled up. Now, if I'm interested, I want something that's actually in the text of the article, but wouldn't necessarily be in the subject heading. I can put in, let's see, I've forgotten what her name was. I saw somebody in there. So I will put it into all text, and that will search not only the subject headings, but the actual articles. And it should bring up, okay, I can't remember what her name was, but I did actually this morning do a search within the text. So for example, if you're looking for dietary supplements and you know somebody who might be involved but wouldn't be in the subject headings, or a particular dietary supplement, and you only want articles that refer to that, you can not only search the subject headings, but you can also search the text. And I'm going to stop for a minute because I went really quickly over all of that. Does anybody have any questions? And Tim, feel free to jump in if you have any thoughts.
I forget how you got to the covers of the articles.
Oh, okay.
Of the issues.
Sure. And that is a link that I found, and I'm going to go ahead. I will send that to you with this recording. But basically, you can go back for 5 years. And it's nice if you're not researching Consumer Reports for a specific item, but you just want to look at the next issue. This is really helpful as far as understanding what the focus of the issue is going to be about. And you can open it up and it will give you a little bit more information about the various, the cover story. It doesn't go into great detail because you have to be a member, but it will give you a little bit of help as far as sort of organizing yourself and trying to think about what you want to look at.
But how do you get to that page?
So it is a particular link, and I'm going to just send it to you through email
Oh,
because it's complicated to get to.
okay.
But I
So
just thought it was really
separate-
helpful.
It's a separate step outside of being,
On the library website, it's not
Yeah.
available on the library website. Yeah.
okay.
Although what we should do, and we could easily do, is put this in the e-library, because right now we have consumer reports and we have watch a short tutorial on how to use them. We could also put a link to this page, which will have the digital archive so you can see these covers, so you don't have to hold on to the URL.
Yeah, that would be handy.
Yeah, that would be. Thank you, Deb. Anybody else have any questions? Okay.
Mary,
Yeah.
does that mean that the library no longer carry magazines then?
At this point, we have stopped our subscriptions to all magazines. You will find anything that is still coming to us, we're putting out in a box in front of our temporary quarters so that you can have access to them and just take them home. But because of COVID and handling paper and being in a community space, we thought and also the fact that we have such a limited amount of space in our temporary quarters, we thought it perhaps wise not to continue our subscriptions. So in the new library, once we have the okay from the CDC, we will again start carrying magazines. But at this point, no, we don't have any magazines.
I apologize, I was late, but basically you're going to put in a link, so it's will be one of the services that's available that you can just click on and get to Consumer Report right away.
Well, I'll show you right here. So if you go to eLibrary on our webpage,
yeah,
and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, if you click on this link, Consumer Reports, and then you sign in with your library card number.
Okay.
And then you're in Consumer Reports.
Okay.
So, and again, Joanne, we'll send you the recording of this so you will see, you can basically look at Consumer Reports by issue, or you can search within the publication.
Okay, because I thought you just said you were going to send a link, so, but you just basically scroll down to the bottom.
Right. So what I'm sending a link to is this page, which has all of the covers, which is just for those of us who are visually oriented.
Yeah.
It's helpful to see the covers as opposed to just the search results.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, you might just look at these covers and say, oh, yeah, I want to learn about produce without pesticides or how to eat less plastic. So, any other questions?
I mean, eating less plastic sounds like an important thing to do.
I think it would be, I think maybe that's my problem that I've been having recently. I've been eating too much plastic.
And
So.
I mean, one thing I will say is I'm all about, researching stuff before you buy, right? But there are certain items that lend themselves to Consumer Reports and certain items that don't.
Right.
So in my opinion, if you're looking for a new washer dryer, if you're looking for a new refrigerator, or just you're looking for stuff that, kind of doesn't see that much advancement year to year, Consumer Reports is fantastic because you're going to get let's say you see an article in October about washer dryer units or refrigerators. In December, that article is still going to be correct. It's still going to have all of the necessary information. It's not like the next month a revolutionary washer dryer comes out that will change the face of the earth. So for big items like that, and also cars and stuff like that, Consumer Reports is fantastic. Where it falls a little short is with things that change quickly, like phones, for example. So if you're looking to buy a new iPhone or a new Android phone, 1 month difference could be a rather significant jump. Or Samsung just released their new offering, which is a big change from their old offering. So definitely think about what you're looking at Consumer Reports, and it's very important that Mary kind of showed you how to sort by date, because I mean, if you're looking for a new car and you're looking at accident reports and all of their information they do with safety testing, if you're looking at an article that's 2 years old, you may want to actually try finding a newer article, because that's 2 model years different from the car you would be looking at purchasing today.
Exactly. And Tim, last week he went over upgrading your phone, and next week he's going to be talking about buying a device, and he'll have other alternative websites and information to help you make those decisions. But Consumer Reports is great for what it's good for. And again, as Tim pointed out, Consumer Reports is not without having put its foot in its mouth occasionally. So as with all research, nothing is perfect. So treat it with a grain of salt. Occasionally they have misstepped as well. So once you have your articles, let's see, let's just go back. Okay, you have a couple options. You can, as you go through, for example, if I'm taking a look at this article, burdens of proof, I can just, this is the detailed record. I can either go into the HTML full text or the PDF full text, and then I have various options of how I want to save that or share it. You can do articles individually and just email them to yourself or print them or save them to your computer, or you can put them in a folder. And as I mentioned, here's the folder. Once I'm in here, I have all of these articles that I have added to my folder. Now, I can either select them all, or I can just choose 1 or 2 that I think I really want now that I've given it some more thought and looked at them all together. And at this point, I can then just print all of them out or email them all or save them all to my computer. It's a little bit easier to manage your research this way as opposed to doing it individually. But if you're only looking for a particular article, then an individual approach is just fine. But if you're doing a lot of research and collecting a lot of information, you may want to just put them in the folder, and at the end of your research, decide how you want to handle them, whether you want to print them or email them or save them to your computer again. Once you click out of Consumer Reports, anything that is in that folder will just automatically disappear. So you can't go back to it. It will not save it in the folder. So you need to decide what you want to do with those articles before you leave the website. So does anybody have any questions at this point? Good. I think I went through that very, very quickly, and I apologize, but I think it's pretty straightforward, and it's sort of a lot of fun to explore. And again, I would encourage you to just, if you're going to search the entire journal, the database, choose advanced search. It's much easier. And then you can choose the Consumer Reports and your subjects, and you can also search within the text of an article if you're looking for a specific person or name of a vitamin or Whirlpool. If you're interested in washing machines, but you want to make sure the article talks about Whirlpool, then you can add that and search the text. And that, if you do the search text, it's TX or all text, and it will search all of the actual article to see if the word Whirlpool shows up, and it won't give you articles that don't include Whirlpool. So I think that's pretty much it. If anyone has any last minute questions, please feel free, or we could try a search if anyone's interested in searching for something.
I have a search.
Okay.
Let's
Let's
do
do it.
let's do a hypothetical. So Mary, I am looking at purchasing a new blender,
All right.
and I have heard good things about the company Blend Tech.
Okay. So I would go, well, let's put a little back up for a moment. First of all, I don't know what issue it would be in, so I would search within the publication. And the subject would be Blender. And I would make that a subject term. And is it Blend Tech? Is that correct?
I think that's how it is.
Okay, maybe it's one word. I can't remember.
If not, we'll go with Ninja, because that's easier to remember. So we'll just go with Ninja.
Thanks. Okay. And in this case, I'm going to search the text of the various articles. Okay. Now, I'm also making it full text, although with Consumer Reports, that's not as much of an issue as with the other databases that EBSCO offers. And what years do you want to go back to, Tim?
Let's go since 2018.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fingers crossed. All right. You have 3 articles. Now, I'm looking at these articles, and I noticed this is August 2019. This is May 2019 and July 2019. So I can look at each one of these articles. Or if I want to, if I don't have time, I can simply put them in my folder and send the whole result to myself by email. But otherwise, I can just open up each of these articles. Tim, do you want to listen to this article in a British accent, or would you prefer to read it?
Oh, I mean, it's either Australian or I read it myself.
All right. Now, the other thing, the one thing I do want to show you, though, is if you do HTML and you go through the article, you will see every place Blender and Ninja. You can see it highlighted, so you can easily search the article if you're looking for a particular topic. So the Ninja Professional NJ600, which scores higher than some of its more expensive competitors. And they're saying see page 22. So that's really nice, because then you're not having to search the whole thing. But let's just listen to it briefly. Oh. All right. And for some reason,
Best bet blenders. Contents. 1. Will your blender last? 2. If blenders could talk. 3. I need regular baths. 4. Some like it hot, but I might not. 5. I wear a cap for good measure.
Okay. Who knew? So basically, here's the introduction to the article, and then here are the various pieces of content. I definitely want to find out why this blender wears a cap for good measure, but perhaps we'll look at it later.
You haven't
Um,
turned one on without the cap on?
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. I have.
Oh
Um,
yeah, my kitchen has paid the price for my mistakes.
Yes, yes,
So how do
exactly.
you actually, can you just type page 22 somewhere? Then you can just go. right
So,
to-
okay, so if you wanted to do that, then what I would suggest is you look at it and the PDF full text, and then you click on 21 to 25. And why isn't it should be working? It worked earlier this morning. Oh, I see. It's chapters, so maybe
Yeah,
the pages are different. Okay.
correct. And then those are the things below the chapters that you can choose from.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a little bit difficult as far as trying to get through, but you can see this is page 20, Joanne. So this is your article, best bet blenders. And then if you go to it was page 22, and they're talking about the Ninja Professional and giving you a review for one of the best from in the price range of $75 to $150. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Earlier when you were just kind of showing things, I saw
Mhm.
this thing on vinegar. So I don't know, I didn't see what it was about, but if you have a very kind of general subject, then you will get a lot of hits then, right? If you just want to say the negatives of using vinegar to clean or something.
Right. You would have to refine it. And that would be a little bit complicated, that one, as far as how to refine it. I'm just trying to think. Let's see. If we were to go, again, we're in Consumer Reports, that's the journal, and vinegar, subject term. Tim, do you have any ideas of how to get to vinegar as a cleaning agent?
Oh, you would probably do subject terms vinegar and cleaning agent,
Okay,
or just cleaning.
okay,
And then if that's
See-
too general, we would then start paring it down.
okay. And I'm assuming that we don't necessarily have to choose a publication date, but maybe we'll make it 2015 to 2020, since I think vinegar probably hasn't changed much in its properties. And unfortunately, no
Exactly.
results.
Can you just put 2020? Because what Tim brought up earlier. I mean, all the old stuff, I guess, is okay, but
Yeah, and with stuff
Yeah.
that doesn't change, I mean, the effectiveness of vinegar in 1950 is probably the same as today, unless it got watered down.
When you were on the second subject line with vinegar, I think they had vinegar and cleaning as a combined
Fine, let's try. Yeah, let's try that.
space. I think you'll get a choice there.
Okay.
Vinegar and cleaning.
Yeah.
It's already there, right? Yeah.
Question is whether that is the default on that. And no, no. Let's just try one last thing. Just vinegar straight and see what we get. Okay, so
there it is. No-nos.
nose. Okay. Yes, so this does look just okay. So we're seeing the most basic information about this, but if we wanted to, we could go into detail. And that might give us more information. This article presents several appliances and things that distilled white vinegar should not be used for. So it does look like it is a cleaning oriented article as opposed to a salad dressing article.
But somehow not mentioned cleaning at all in the article, which is very impressive.
Well, actually, so we made it a subject term. Let's just try if we make cleaning a text, all text. There we go.
Oh,
All right.
Perfect.
So it was within the text, but it wasn't, you can see the subjects, vinegar. And there was no mention of cleaning. So that's why we got a null result. But it is actually in the text. So great. And vinegar works really nicely to get all sorts of things clean. I won't go into it. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for staying with me and looking at consumer reports. If you have questions, feel free to email me. And between Tim and I think we can probably help you. Next week, Tim is going to be going over buying a device and what to think about. Tim, you want to give him a little preview?
Yeah, so it'll be definitely bring things that are on your mind, because otherwise I'm just going to be searching blenders and phones all day. But essentially what we're going to be doing is, how do you choose an item to buy that you may not have seen in person? Because I know a lot of people aren't going outside. A lot of people are relying more and more on online shopping. So it's kind of, how can you find a review? How can you trust the review? And then how can you find the best price for a given item? And definitely bring any things you want to look up, and we can go over that in the class.
I'm really impressed that you knew about the Ninja blender. I've never heard of it.
Oh, well, so this is a story. But whenever I buy something, which will surprise almost no one who knows me, I research it too much. I find researching to be almost as validating as actually purchasing the product. So I spent a lot of hours researching blenders. So, I mean, Vitamix is clearly the #1 blender. Then after that would be Blendtec. And we're talking about $150 price difference for comparable. But the biggest thing with blenders is if you are pulverizing versus chopping. So the Ninja blenders are very good and very price efficient if you want a blender that will chop. But if you want a blender that uses dull blades spun at a higher rate of speed that will pulverize things, then you want to move up to the Vitamix or the Blendtec blenders.
Vitamix is very expensive, so I mean,
That is true.
Well, we will talk about that and much more next week. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. I'll get this recording out to you, as well as the link to the Consumer Reports covers. All right.
thank
You
Take
got
care.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.